Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with a review of the Transformers, Titan's Return, Voyager class, Blunderbuss, and Broadside. So, we have before us an Autobot triple changer. We've reviewed Astrotrain. We briefly saw Blitzwing in Megatron's review yesterday, and we'll see him later this week alongside Decepticon Octone, Octone and Titan's Return, Octane elsewhere. But we got before us an Autobot triple changer, one of the three Autobot triple changers released in 1986 alongside Springer and Sandstorm. Broadside wasn't really notable. He's a wrecker, though. He is a wrecker, so like Topspin and Twin Twist, he is one of the wreckers. So we got a few new records this year. Yay! But for him, his three modes are an aircraft carrier, as you see before you, his robot mode, and a jet. You know, like the kind of jet that an aircraft carrier holds on it. Yeah, talk about scale issues there. The aircraft carrier looks pretty good. The robot mode's decent. This aircraft carrier, the jet mode, I should say, is no. I'll just say that right out front, no. But let's take a closer look at the toys before we get into that in this form. We'll start taking a look at Blunderbuss here. And Broadside here is actually a very heavy retool of a toy that I've already reviewed. He's, in fact, a heavy retool of Alpha Trion, and you may not see it, but I will show off the differences very momentarily. But you can see that they are, in fact, the same because they are using the same head dudes. So yeah, you see they're the exact same. The only differences are the different color layouts, with Blunderbuss here having a white with a red chest, and wow, I'm forgetting your name. I forget your name. I was going to say Solomus, but that's not right. It's Sovereign. There we go. Sovereign is red with purple and a little bit of gray. He does have a little more color than Blunderbuss here, even though they don't have any paint on either of them, and they're just the exact same with different molding, though their faces are in fact different. So taking a closer look at the Broadside face, he's got a visor and a faceplate. He does have a bit of brighter silver going on around the face, and then like a lighter gray going on the mouth plate, and a little bit of a chin going on there with a nice red visor going on there. So for articulation, his head is able to rotate a full 360 degrees. It is able to rock back and forth and wiggle side to side. His arms are able to bend that far. He is able to go all the way. And they are able to bend out to the side that far. His legs are able to bend that far forward, that far back, and his knees are able to bend that far back and that far forward. And to transform him, you just collapse him in half, and there he is in the head mode. And you can see how that looks. So that's all there is for Blunderbuss at the moment. So let's take a closer look at Broadside in his battleship mode. And on top, it is a very nice looking battleship mode. Like, I mean, granted, it's a flat thing with a little tower over here, but it's pretty nice. So taking a look up front, looking at the main thing is in all of this very much gray paint, certain of it pieces being paint, as you can tell. Others, I don't think so. I think some of these are actually gray panels, but a lot of it is probably paint. You do have a 36 number up front here, very reflective foil sticker. That's a nice looking sticker. You just got landing details here and there. You got a port for weapons. You got an Autobot logo right there. You got a nice runway going on here, and even though it's in sticker, it's doing surprisingly well compared to other foil stickers. And a bit of yellow on there too, with that landing stripe. You got a very tiny tower over here, and a 36 on the side, though this sticker is in fact falling off, so that's not a great sticker placement. He's got a radar tower going on up there or something. Then coming onto the sides, you get red, you get grays, and you really look underneath, you see a jet hiding out underneath the landing carrier. So yeah, but for this mode you do get some landing gears. You get this landing gear, that landing gear, and this landing gear right there. So as it is able to stand in the landing craft mode. For interaction between Broadside and Blunderbuss, you can actually get Blunderbuss to sit on this vehicle mode, and you wonder, where's the seat? Well, it is in fact inside the tower itself. So you open the tower like that, and you got to get Blunderbuss into a seating position. You kind of have to have him like at this kind of an angle for the face to go properly into that seat, but then you just kind of plop him in there. And there you have, whoops, I knocked the landing gear down. And there you have Blunderbuss sitting in Broadside. Yeah, sure. Scale, this is supposed to be a human-sized thing, and this is an entire aircraft carrier. Where's the scale? I'll get into worse issues of scale in a moment. He does have a lot of Time Master ports on him. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 Time Master ports on the aircraft base alone. If you notice on the sides, he's got ports on the arms. He's got another port there on the arms. He's got 2 ports here, there, and there. So I think overall he's got 18 ports, if I counted correctly. 18 various Titan Master ports that are able to fit various Titan Masters. Though the massive amount of ports is predominantly used for a particular accessory he comes with. He comes with this sprue of tiny Aerialbots. Yes, the Aerialbots are able have have the same Time Master ports on the inside of them, and you can take them off the sprue and place them on any of those ports. I have not done so because I kind of don't want to lose them, but I like the idea. I appreciate the idea very much. And like I'll just show it off. There you go. It attaches. But again, in terms of talking about how bad the scale is with these guys, these 5 make combiner. Looking at this, looking at the scale between them, Blunderbuss would be as tall as Superion. Let that sink in. There is no sense of scale here. There is just none. There's no accurate scale. None of it makes any sense. Even though it is explained that Blunderbuss's power does allow for mass shifting, if I recall correctly. So that makes more sense, but I would think he'd have to be inserted in head mode for that power to work. I don't know how Time Masters works, but that's the hand waving of it in fiction. But realistically, since we're talking about alien robots that can turn into Earth vehicles, it's weird. It doesn't make sense. But he does have another accessory. He has this very translucent blue gun. It's a very long gun, and it does have a Time Master seating capability. And you just sit him in there. Though the port that he's supposed to go into doesn't really the tab on the back is supposed to go into that hole right there, but it doesn't go in. It just kind of sits there, so he's not going to stay in there. Though there are 3 5mm posts, 1 there and 2 on either side, that allow him to either have this gun planted right there, like so, or planted on the sides, since there are ports in the what will be the arms there. Yeah, that's about it. Unless this port fits. No, that does not. That's not a port. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. That's probably just a screw hole, even though all the screws are pretty up there. So I don't know why that hole exists. Anyway, so yeah, with all that being said about Broadside's alternate mode, let's get into some size comparisons. Here he is next to Legends Class Bumblebee. I'm going to have to raise the camera a bit probably for this next bit. And you can see how he scales next to Broadside. You have Deluxe Class Chrome Dome. And you can see that. And you can see how well they scale together. You've got Voyager Class Megatron. You see how well that scales. And I've got one of Broadside's stands down. And then you got Leader Class 6-Shot. And you can see how they scale. And just Six Shot's head sticking out there. Whoops. I'll worry. I won't worry about that. But yeah. And then one more quick comparison. As I mentioned, he's a retool of Alpha Trion, so there is Broadside next to Alpha Trion. And you can see that the legs sections here are the same. They do have different stuff on the side, but like in terms of the posts and all of the molding, that's exactly the same. These wings, the landing gear here is the exact same. So there are certainly similarities, but there's a lot different with Broadside. And I'm not even going to compare Alpha Trion on Broadside in the Lion and Jet modes because they are so radically different that there's not even worth looking at what the similarities are. But I will show them off again. Alpha Trion off again when we get to the robot mode. But yeah, so that's all there's to say on Broadside in his aircraft carrier mode. So now it's time to roll along to his jet mode. Jet mode. So we're going to flip the landing gears down since they were already doing that. And then we'll flip that down like so. And we'll move the wings out to the sides. Let's just get the wings out of the way and ready to go on. First, what we're going to do is we're going to take these panels and we're going to untab them. This tab goes into that slot right there, and that tab goes into that slot right there for that to tab in. Same thing on the other side. And then we're going to get these out of the way. We're just going to pull these out to the side for the time being. Then we're going to come down here. We're going to flip these panels down, and these tabs will go into those slots right there, like so. I'm going to split the legs and leave them like that for now. Then we'll come down here. We'll take this panel, just not the whole thing, just the panel, and flip it down like so. So, and you can see there's the jet. And you're probably wondering where the rest of this is going to go, and I'm curious about that too. Well, we also have to come over here, flip the radar tower down, and flip that radar dish down. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the legs like so. Angle them up so that this tab right here can go into that slot right there. Right there. And we're going to angle this like so and flip the foot down and around and tab it in like that. And repeat that on the other side. Rotate, angle, tab it in, bend, rotate, tab that in. And we're going to fold these wings down like so. Oh, and there are Time Master ports there and there. So there's actually 20 Time Master ports on Broadside total. Oh, no, that's not one. No, only 20. Only 20. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take these sections and we are going to completely rotate them down. And we're going to, well, actually, first I'm going to show this off. We're going to have the arms bent like that at that kind of an angle. So this tab goes into that slot right there. And that lines up, and then we'll fold the wings out and rotate them out like so. We'll move that over like there. Do the same on that side. Do that. And there you have Broadside in his jet mode, and you now understand what I was talking about. You now understand. Going back to the Time Master ports really quick, there are 2 on each wing here that I forgot about, so there's actually 22 total Time Master ports on Broadside. But back to the main part of the jet mode. What is this jet mode? What? This doesn't even count as a fictional space jet. How would this even work? Like, okay, this looks good. That looks fine. This is a mess. The wings are so low on the body compared to the rest of the thing. These are just obnoxious, and these wings are just backwards. They're just terrible, and they're backwards, and there's a gap. There's an obnoxious gap right there. This was never meant to be a jet. They needed to go for a new mold to make this toy work, rather than retooling for Broadside. I'm just going to say it now. Anyway, so looking at the jet mode, you've got a red nose cone right there, translucent blue cockpit. You got a translucent blue bit right there with an Autobot logo sticker right there. Got a bit of red going on these sides right there. Bit of gray, mostly gray for these sections. A little bit of light gray. You come over here, you get gray, you got a little bit of yellow, gray, lighter gray, and then you got the wings, and you got stickers on the wings. The wings are mostly translucent blue, a little bit of light gray, and a red sticker going on with an Autobot logo on the wings. And then you got the tower over here and a little bit of yellow there, and same over there. And then the back, I can't even call it a thing. There's not even a thruster. There's not even a pretend thruster anywhere. Is the legs. And you see most of them from the battleship mode, and then you just get these. You get these red sections, you get these red wings, and you get these translucent blue bits that are painted in gray. Yeah. Blunderbuss, I should say, can fit in the cockpit. You open the cockpit, you sit him down. You don't tab him in anywhere. You just plop him in, and there you got Blunderbuss riding inside Broadside, like so. And then you can stick, like I said, you can stick him onto any of the Titan Master ports that are anywhere on this guy's body. And the gun you can try to plug it in on the sides here. You probably have to do it upside down, like so, to get that to work, so it's not bumping into the wings. Or you have this port right here that allows for plugging in on the top. So yeah, this just shocks me how atrocious this is. But anyway, now it's time to get into some size comparisons for this mode. There they are with Legends class Bumblebee. And you can see how that scales. Deluxe class Chrome Dome. You see how that scales. Voyager class Megatron. You see how that scales. And Leader class Sixshot. And you see how that scales. And if Sixshot's head was down, Broadside would be longer. Yeah. I can't even process. Before we get on to the robot mode, I'm going to show off a quick mistransformation that helps the alternate mode. I'm not going to do the full thing because that involves rearranging some parts, and I'm going to save some time on this review. I have done, and I do this when I do it for the jet mode, but I've seen people, when this toy came out, I saw people have an alternate configuration to make the jet mode cleaner. What you do is you just move these arms out of the way. You're going to untap the legs and you're going to straighten them out. You're just going to flat out straighten them out and just have the arms collapsed in the side. Perhaps a bit more. I believe they rotate the arms down like so. So that the pegs that they were using are actually sticking up out to the side. The other main part is all four of these wings are on friction hinges. Like you can see, they're all friction hinges. So I just flipped their direction. I think for the outside wings, I flipped what side they were actually on to make them work better. Yeah, I think I had to do that because of how the hinge works. So just keep these where they are and flip them, and then reposition these two and so that they're forward facing. So like overall that looks cleaner. And then while you do have this extra bit sticking down, what other people have done is take the gun, use this hole from the aircraft carrier mode, stick it underneath, and have that kind of as a flight stand of sorts, so as that it sticks out. So that's, and even though I think it does look better with the wings flipped. I think that's what really makes it, but it does screw up the other modes a bit. But I can like get them to fold differently on the legs, but I like how I fold them on the legs as opposed to how they work in the actual robot mode. But that's an option if you want to go for something a little cleaner, but it's still not great. This mode shouldn't exist, honestly. But putting it back to where it's supposed to be, and then I will continue on with actually getting onto the robot mode. So everything's now back to where it was. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to move the arms out from the sides, and then we're going to come down here. Untap the legs, straighten the legs out, flip the foot down and around like so, and then flip these wings closed. There's 2 bits right there and 1 bit right there. They don't like tab together, but they kind of groove together and end up like looking like that. And you do that for the other side. Straighten out the leg, flip the foot around, get the wings together, and there you have the legs all done. Coming up to the top, you're gonna rotate these shoulders up like so. Rotate them up like so. And then you can collapse this nose cone section down. It's gonna, well, actually what you really should do is take this, fold it back up, and then fold it down on this hinge, bring the nose cone down with it. Like that, yes. Then you flip, whoop, you don't do that yet. You don't do that yet. You flip these sections down. You flip those down. You come around, you rotate the arm, you fold out the fists like so, and you do that. You fold out the fists like so, and then you're almost done. Well, actually, you can position the wings however you want. I'll leave them a little closer to the body since he really didn't have wings in his silhouettes before. So all he needs is his head. You come around, you get Blunderbuss, you plug him in, and then you have Broadside. And I guess I'll leave the thingies up since this toy was insistent that I use them. So yeah, there is Broadside in his robot mode, and he's aight. He's alright. He looks pretty good. He's aight. It's the jet mode that makes him suffer the most. It really is. This mode is not accurate to how he looked in G1, but I do appreciate the effort. I do, in fact, appreciate the effort. But let's take a closer look at Broadside here. Like I said, you got these little gray thingies on the side sticking up. So as they buff out the head. You got that Autobot logo and the blue fake cockpit on his chest. You got the same red that you saw on the back side of the jet, the back side of the front half of the jet. You got these legs that are the light gray. You got the predominantly red legs and the wings that you saw before, and then you got the outside of the legs, which were the top of the aircraft carrier, which you also saw in the jet mode. You got the arms, you got the same yellow, the same grays that you had going on. The main new thing is these fists, which are pretty large, actually, for comparing from what I remember for how large the fists of the other Voyagers are. They are pretty large. You got that sticker falling off. That's really unfortunate. That's never going to stay again. And then you got the back side with these wings sticking out and this entire nose cone on the back. One thing I will say, when I display mine, I do prefer sticking the wings out to the back like so, sticking them like that. Gives them extra backpack, but I usually, in displaying him, I do think that profile looks a lot nicer on him than the one with the wings. But it's all personal preference. Whatever you want to do. I'll leave him like this for the remainder of the review. For head articulation, if you have these head buffers out, they only rotate that far, but if you put them down, and I'll leave them down for the rest of this review, you get full 360-degree rotation, back and forth, and a little bit of side-to-side going on. The arms are able to rotate a full 360 degrees. The arms are able to go out that far. They do have a bicep swivel that allows 360-degree rotation and 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. And this wrist joint, if you think that counts. Brief phone interruption. I forget exactly where we stopped, so I'll go over the legs. So the legs are able to bend that far forward, only that far back because of the back side of the aircraft carrier, though if you want to lift it up, you can give him more leg articulation. And then they are able to bend out that far. He does have a thigh swivel, however, because of how it's shaped and how it interacts with the body, it's only able to bend that far forward, and you can barely see the angle it's at, and then only that far out. So you can only really get him to bend his legs outward. You can't get him to bend his legs inward at all. His knees are able to bend at a 90-degree angle. And his feet are a little weird because they're on a double hinge, so you kind of get a few different poses going out of him. I do prefer putting his feet like this so they're not too far sticking out, and they give him more centered balance because then with a bit of heel going on in the back. But you can do things with the heel. It's the feet. It's just weird. It's just a little weird. But that's a holdover from the Alpha Trion mold. He is able to hold his gun. He can hold it in his hand like so, and he can hold it on his crotch if you want. No storage on the back anywhere, but there are also these ports on the shoulders like so. So you can store it up there if you want. And yeah, that's all there's to say on Broadside in his robot mode. So now let's get on to some robot mode size comparisons. After I readjust the camera a little bit. There we go, robot mode size comparison time. Here he is next to Legends class Bumblebee. And Bumblebee comes about up to that 5mm port in his crotch. Was a little weird to say. Here he's next to Deluxe class Chrome Dome, and if Chrome Dome's not doing the splits, you can see that he comes up to the top of the Autobot symbol on Broadside's chest. Here he's next to Voyager class Megatron, and you can see he's a fair bit shorter than Megatron. He's about half a head shorter than Megs is, interestingly, because he was like he's a really big guy because he turns into an aircraft carrier and all of that. Leader class 6 shot. And he comes up a little shy of the wings. He comes up to like the top of these black doodly things on 6 shot's chest. And of course, here he is next to the channel's mascots, Soundwave and Wheeljack. And you can see how it looks next to them. And then quick comparison with his very distant mold mate Alpha Trion. Again, most of the similarities are in the legs, and that's a little bit of the internal mechanics of how these head thingies work. And that's pretty much it. Well, that's considered retooling. And oh wait, I think actually, yeah, it looks like these shoulder pieces, that point and that point right there are shared. Are there? I'm pretty sure those are shared. Yeah, there's some minor things here and there that are shared between the two of them, besides just the legs. But it's very, very different. But overall, Broadside deserved his own mold. That's what I'm going to say. I appreciate that we did get a Broadside mold. I wish we got a unique mold for Broadside. It is hard. You're not getting another toy out of the character, and that is the problem. That's like Hasbro's mindset. At least have something that it can be turned into. You turned this. They were able to turn this into Tidal Wave. They could have just done their own Broadside and then released Tidal Wave out of it, and that would have been like fine and acceptable. But no, they did this, and it's not. The battleship mode, the aircraft mode, is great. The robot mode is passable. The jet mode is terrible. I don't rate this as a horrible toy purely because I do want a Broadside in my collection for the records, but I am not desperate enough to go out and do third-partying for that, even though it'll probably be better, though there aren't a whole lot of third-party options currently, as far as I know, that do have Broadsides available. So this was the best available one to me to get. So I'm okay with it. I do wish it was better, and I can't particularly strongly recommend it to you unless you just want a Broadside toy, unfortunately. But that's all I have to say on Broadside, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All of the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack's signing off.